Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live streaming. Today, we're going to have 1 hour more or less together with some guests talking about some key topic related to the reliability and reactivity of the production system. Let me take some minutes to let all the participants connect to enter the password to enter into this live streaming. Hello, everyone. What we are going to discuss today is how we can create a competitive advantage using the methodology, the typical Japanese methodology, but today focus mainly on TPM. Competitive advantage is a crucial word in these days where the competitiveness is very strong. That's why we are waiting to connect with some colleagues that are not here. I'm speaking from our headquarters in Milan. Our colleague will be connected from different locations. So, first of all, I would like to introduce yourself. We are very pleased to introduce yourself, our guest. We have 3 colleagues connected from Japan, from Tokyo, that are Yoshiaki Morita, my very old and good friend since I worked in JMAC. Hello, everyone. Jorge Zavaleta, that is right, and Takuya Sasaki. Hello, everyone. I see on your back the Tokyo Tower. Are you freezing?
Yes, too cold.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we have from Parma, Michele Marazzini.
Hello.
Hello, Michele.
Hello.
Ciao.
Morning. Good
Good
evening,
morning.
everyone.
Okay. So, good. So we are here. What we are going to discuss in the next few minutes from here to 2 o'clock in Italy. First, I would like to spend some few words about the fact that we know very well that the market condition, the context is really changing very fast. This is now, many people say that now the new normality is the change. So the fact that the market has continuous fluctuation, the fact that the customer change the demand, all the supply chain is affected by this, for sure, by the change in the single market, but also from the effect that the supply chain, because of their size, because of the globalization and so on, create. So we have fluctuation, we have changes, continuous changes. But on the other side, we have to say that not for that, we as a customer are available to accept delay or to accept longer lead time or to accept different service level, including the quality itself. So in this moment, the company has to face this continuous changing condition in the market. And this means one thing, that we have in some way to respond, because the risk is that in that very competitive market, the customer decide to move from our service, from our product to a competitor product and services. And this is a big risk, because for sure, all the strategy, all the continuous improvement activities are focused on reducing continuously the cost, increasing continuously the efficiency in the usage of the resources. But we have to sometimes to make a trade-off between the risk of losing revenues and more of these margins. If we if we are not able to answer quickly to the request of the market, the risk is that we can lose sales opportunity and margin. And this means more compared to the cost issue. So this is very difficult. And in some way, we think that the biggest, I would say, challenge that manufacturing company, but not only manufacturing company, has to face in these very difficult years is that we have to accept the idea that the stability is not anymore an opportunity to improve the economy of scale. The stability is not anymore the reality. The stability is something that is until almost the next years probably will be one thing that is related to the past, and we have to accept this thing. And based on that, one thing that we would like to develop today is the fact that the production capacity, the available production capacity, is a strategic asset to guarantee a quick response. Because if we accept the idea that the volume can change, but also the mix can change very much, we have to accept the idea that without free production capacity, not only manufacturing, but also in the services and in support function, we are not able to face the request. That means that the capacity, sorry for the wordplay, but the ability to have free capacity in this context is becoming more and more important and strategic. But the topic, or almost this topic, opened many questions. First of all, how to increase or create this additional free capacity without investing, because we cannot make huge investment in technology based simply on the risk of losing revenue. We need to find a lower cost way to increase this capacity. The second question, from my point of view, is that we need to measure this free capacity and the performance in my opinion, in a different way. Because now we have an accounting system in the majority of the company I know that is based on standard cost, of course, but where the standard costs are created based on a old idea, I would say, based on the idea that the size lots are defined, are economical, and we can make economy of scale based on that. And this is not any more realistic from my point of view. We need to change the way we see the cost using the traditional standard cost when we are working in a standard cost condition, but we probably have to find a different way when we have to balance the risk of having losing revenue and losing margin with the need of having maybe a higher cost because of smaller lots. Another point is related to how to use that free capacity, how to manage the planning and the sales and operational planning based on this free capacity. So having this capacity to move from a stable workload perspective to a variable workload perspective. And at the end, one key point is how to deal with all this situation and having a sort of effective free capacity in order to make it real. So at the end, in our opinion, so you can imagine that where I'm going to go is that we need to develop a strong and I would say reliable improvement process in order to look at the losses that are a huge opportunity if we think in the term. Losses are the biggest opportunity that companies have to to find additional capacity and to change completely the perspective of the manufacturing company, of the factories. So this is a starting point. We are going to develop this idea together with our colleague from Japan and with Michele Marazzini from Parma. Okay, I would say, first of all, hello to Yoshiaki Morita. I had the opportunity to work many times with Yoshiaki in different projects. We know each other from a long time ago. And I know that Morita-san has made many projects in the manufacturing, not only in the manufacturing company, but he experienced many best performer in Japan. He knows very well how the best-in-class company work to continuously adapt their system and improve their system in order to face a new competition and a new challenge. That's why I will pass the mic to Yoshiaki. Hello, I see the beautiful Tokyo Tower behind you. Please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, dear participants. Thank you very much for your participating today to this live streaming. I would like to deliver our presentation from Tokyo. You can see the beautiful tower, the Tokyo Tower behind me. And please enjoy our 1 hour for our presentation. At first, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Morita. I did 34 years for reliability improvements at the factory. I have a bachelor degree of applied mathematics and reliability engineering at the master degree. Now I am managing director of TPM consulting division, and after me, my two colleagues will explain how to implement TPM later. Okay, next slide, please. We did our consulting 83 years ago. At first, we applied lean to labor-intensive factory. But 20 years later, 30 years later, machines, instead of labor, started to produce the products to the customer. Therefore, we faced to develop the new methodology to improve machine for effectiveness. Now it's called TPM in the world. As I said, I did TPM consulting for 34 years. Now TPM is recognized one methodology to bring to operational excellence in case of asset intensive or capital intensive factories. Next slide, please. Next, please. Yes. When we had the contact from potential customer, we start to find the opportunity. You can say losses to improve your business by conducting fact finding. And after that, we design scenario. I can show you later the example of scenario. And we started training of your employees to involve our TPM activities. Next slide, please. And we would like to explain how to apply TPM to capital or asset intensive factories. At first, we analyze opportunity, as I said, to calculate the present capacity of your machine utilization, and we analyze what is the ideal capacity according to machine design. Usually, we can find gap to be excellence as 20% or 30%. If we improve those losses or opportunities, you can improve profit loss 15 to 20%. And after that, we evaluate skill of your employees. For example, employee A have good skill to learn this machine, but employee B does not have enough sufficient skills to learn the machine. According to this kind of skill evaluation, we find the opportunity to improve skill for business excellence. Show me my slide. And we define what should be a KPIs to show progress and achievement of business target and explain to directors and managers. Next slide, please. And we have to explain to customers why this kind of losses or opportunities is happen in the factory. You may say it is root cause analysis. For example, we have 1,000 defect products, but 60% come from insufficient skill by employee. 20% come from insufficient standards to produce the products. Well, 20% come from insufficient product design. According to this kind of classification or identification, we can find what is prioritized activity to improve for operational excellence. This is one example to analyze root cause. Show me next slide. Next slide, please. And some company ask us to do TPM with only employees, but we don't agree. We don't compromise this kind of requirement to the factory, to the customers. That is why managers' involvement to engage employee or enhance employee or motivate employees is very important to continue to activity. Therefore, at first, we explain managers' involvement is very important. And some case, if manager participate TPM activity, what kind of benefit you can get in your hands. But if managers does not participate, take part in the TPM activity, what kind of opportunity you may lose in the future. That is one example at the food factory. And if we get a commitment and agreement from managers, we go to training for operators or employees. Show me next slide. And we introduce or we train many methodologies to employee, but employee may be able not to understand all of methodology. Therefore, we prioritize what kind of project or activity is important and what kind of methodology should be prioritized to gain by employees. That's one example. If you lose your opportunity by setup, we need to reduce setup 50% or less than 10 minutes or less than 1 minute by using SMET and machine improvement. Show me next slide. And at the end of my presentation, I would like to show one example of one importance for managers. Sometimes managers ask me, I would like to know, I mean the managers, my employee is motivated or educated or good activity, something. In that case, we apply activity board. For example, you can see at the bottom of the slide, before TPM, what kind of problem you had in the factory, and middle lane of activity board is actual activity. Employee A did this kind of good activity. Employee B did this kind of activity, good activity. Employee C conducted excellent activity, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the activity, the right-hand side, you can see the progress by using KPIs. Some company use activity board like a photograph showing. Many photographs is showed in the board, but we don't like to use activity board as a museum. We would like to know the gap of employee and growth of employee and effect to contribute into the business. If you are interested in this kind of methodology, we can apply the activity board. Thank you very much. And my colleague George introduced the methodology to apply to improve the reliability. Thank you, George.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is George or Jorge. So I will talk to you about the basis of how to implement TPM. Okay, all right. So we have at the very beginning we have the basic conditions. So what we have is we need to keep those basic conditions or use the machines and make those basic conditions implemented. What does this mean? It means that we have to clean the machines properly, lubricate the machines, and tighten any loose bolts or screws. This, of course, means that a lot of companies do this. They do this on a routine basis, but sometimes this is not done in a proper way. Just by doing this, we are able to reduce breakdowns, reduce problems in the machines. And the whole concept of what I'm trying to say here is that you need to make sure you're cleaning, lubricating, and tightening in the right way. Next slide, please. Next, we have operating conditions. So now that you have your basic conditions in a stable situation, we go into the operating conditions. So what are the right operating conditions for that specific machine or that specific equipment? Once we have this worked out, we refer back to the manuals, to the parameters, and we can make those operating conditions, implement those operating conditions. And through just doing that, we can also reduce any problems or breakdowns. And the next slide, please. And just by doing the basic conditions and then the operating conditions, the next step is to make an improvement. What kind of improvements? How do you keep those basic conditions happening? You have to usually stop the machine to clean, to inspect, to tighten something. So what you need to do is make some improvements. How can you use your know-how, use your creativity to make those inspections, make those cleaning events easier, faster, reduce that time, and that also will make the whole situation much better for you. Okay, and I think that's all from me. Next, my colleague will continue.
Hi, good evening. My name is Takuya Sasaki, working for JMAC, and I do promotion for TPM globally, and I'd like to introduce some of the results that we can gain from TPM activity. Can I see my slide, please?
Yes.
Yes, these are the typical results that we can get from TPM activity. Value added productivity goes up and labor productivity goes up. Behind these data, we improved OE. That's why the productivity goes up. And to improve OEE, we need to reduce breakdowns and minor stop. Next slide, please. So as I said, these data, minor stop and let me check. Defects goes down, and one of the most beautiful thing is the activeness of people. This suggestion shows activeness of employees. In regular case, we see the factory with people having creativity but not utilizing their creativity. But in TPM, we need everyone's participation. And one of the ways to increase the participation is let them think and let them talk. That is one of the ways is suggestion system. And with TPM, we want everyone to work actively, so then their life will be much better. And we in many cases we hear the customer's voice that TPM is the way of life. So this is one of the beautiful things about TPM. And thank you. This is our presentation.
Yes, thank you very much. As a conclusion, according to my experience, approximately 90% of problem can be improved if you train your employee, motivate your employee, engage your employee, and promote their mindset. Big success in your hand in the future, 100%. Thank you, Fabio.
Thank you, Yoshi. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Takuya. Okay, see you later. Maybe in more ideal condition, we can do the final words. So come back to a warmer place. Okay, thank you very much. And I think there are many things to reflect on what our Japanese colleague says. Two things. Production capacity means having machine in ideal condition. This is no doubt about it. Unfortunately, we don't see that attention. We don't see that care in many of the company we know. And this is not a problem in the industrial company or in the factory. We see quite everywhere in real life. So I think that most of the audience are from Italy. We know very well what it means having a good level of maintenance, for example, in the railway. I will say you know very well what happened in this day, and this is absolutely the consequence of not keeping the assets in their ideal condition. The second point I would say is a topic related to the leadership, because having a strong involvement of the people, that is, have you heard from the Japanese voice, it's a key fundamental topic. So TPM, but you can substitute to the word TPM any other method, Lean, Six Sigma, WCM, what you want. Doing this method without a strong and large involvement of the operators, of the employees, it's a fake. In reality, you cannot do a program, a strategic program like this without a large number of people involved that provide their creativity and their suggestion to the system. So, a couple of topics really, really interesting. So now I would like to involve Michele. Michele knows very well Morita-san because we spent some time together during the last years. So Michele, maybe we can start to talk about your experience, the experience you had in Parma, in Parma site. So please start with maybe talk about who is Sidel and what you're doing there.
I'm really proud to be here to talk about our experience here in Sidel, together with the journey we did with Morita-san and you in the last 3 years. So as you said here in Sidel, we are part of a broader group, Tetra Laval Group. So Sidel in specific, we are about 5,000 employees, and we have 1.5 billion in sales. You can go ahead because we are a provider of complete lines, mainly for beverages, but also for food, home, and personal care. So our customers are Nestlé, Coke, Heineken, and we are producing equipment in our plants. We are spread all over the world, and we connect the equipment produced to the customer side in order to build the complete line over there. You can go ahead, Fabio. And what about Parma? So Parma is a center of excellence and also the headquarters of Sidel. And here we have and we host all the function of the group. So you can see we are mainly a supply chain site, because we have the factory, so the plant, where we produce equipment for fillers equipment and end-of-line equipment. Here in Parma, we are more than 880 employees. So next slide, please.
Okay.
In Parma plant, we have two main areas. The ones where we produce components for our equipments that we call manufacturing areas, divided in light part and heavy part based on the dimension of the component produced, and the final and test area where we put together components and modules, and we assembly and test the equipments, fillers and end of line that later on will be shipped to our customer. We started in Parma the continuous improvement journey late in 28, starting from the labor-intensive areas, so focusing on the waste reductions and in order to streamline the processes of assembly and test. And in 2020, we decided to focus on manufacturing areas, identifying a pilot area that was selected, the manufacturing light part, and we decided to implement TPM methodology.
And this is the start of the story at the end, because from that moment you decided to do something. But why you started with that path? So what was the need and the idea behind that start? Sorry,
Yeah.
Michele, just to remind to the audience that if you want to submit question, you have a toolbar below on your screen, and you can send a question in Italian, in English, as you want. No more language. Thank you.
Yes, as you said at the beginning, the availability of the equipment that we use to produce components is really important, because at that time and also right now, we see the pilot area we selected as a bottleneck for the entire production flow. So we wanted to move from a top-down approach and senior management driving initiatives to a more bottom-up and structured approach involving all the operators. Having this kind of area as a pilot and an example for the entire plant in terms of implementation of autonomy in the management of the operation and implementing preventive action in order to optimize the production flows. So the target was said to focus on a capital-intensive area that is our bottleneck, to reduce losses in order to free up capacity and to increase our ability to adapt to the fluctuation of the demands we have. And as well, this was a journey that we did all together, involving all our employees and operators, starting from the top up to the bottom of the organization.
I think that this is an interesting point, because this is not happening by chance or by lucky or let me say unwilled consequence of other activities. So you wanted to do it, and you act to enlarge the number of people involved, to have them on board. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were involved all together, starting from the beginning, and instead having only 2, 3, 5 key people working with the methodology inside our organization in a sort of standalone mode, we wanted to enlarge really the people involved, aligning on priorities, on methodologies, teaching them and growing their capability to perform activities at whatever level. Therefore, with this increase of competencies, we increase our capacity to manage the things.
Okay, good. So, and you organize the things using the typical, let me say, framework of TPM. Old temple that we
use. In fact, we started identifying pillars leaders, managers who can drive activities focused on their area of responsibilities, defining also which are the target and the objective for each pillars. And then we involved all the other employees within the pillars in order to be part of the journey, of the transformation of our way of working.
I think that I see something that is current or related to the presentation of Morita. I see that in the temple, you were responsible for education and training. So it means that growth of the employees was really a strategic element for this kind of transformation program.
Yeah, exactly. So we worked a lot in order to define which are the key competencies and the knowledge that we need to perform better activities and to free up the capacity of other key peoples in order to focus them on different issues or problems. So we extended the perimeter of influence of each one of the organization in order to cover more activities in a more structured way.
And I think that another key point was the fact that you were working with a long, medium, almost term plan. So not just starting pilot activities here and there to of course, to launch the program, but with a clear, let me say, roadmap for the whole journey.
Yeah, absolutely. We started defining which will be the roadmap we want to follow in order to be really focused on a pilot area within the selected area in order to deploy the methodology at at full range, let me say, no? So implementing the pillars, and after having the first result coming out from the area, and the first achievement that we reached together with the people involved in that area, we extended in the entire department, focusing step by step in the extension itself. No?
Okay, and this is absolutely one key point in my opinion, because sometimes we are very focused on the short term to do things, but having a clear medium-term roadmap, in my opinion, is very much important to communicate to everybody that the story does not end in a pilot area or in a small environment, but sooner or later all the people will be involved. And another topic that I see very much important is the way you connect these activities to your priority, because one thing is the single machine OEE or what else, and one thing is the overall perspective. So your boss asked you to have overall results, not pilot area results. So how will you link these two perspectives in an overall picture?
Yeah, we did a sort of KPI deployment. So every company has its own KPI. So what at that time we defined as success for the group, and we connected the activities in the areas with our own KPIs, trying to link them to the upper stage of the KPIs itself. So connecting what is considered from the group our success to what we can manage and drive at area level. So this connection is really important to link what we are doing with what we need to do in order to also to assess the improvement we are achieving time to time.
Yes, also in my experience, this is really important, because sometimes we ask for commitment, and this is the magic word that consultants always say. So the project is good because it has commitment, the project is not good because there's no commitment. But from my perspective, this is the way to obtain commitment. Because if you do things on the shop floor and you have then to convince the top manager that is the right thing, it's an infinite story and it's not effective. But if we change the perspective and we start from the need of the company and we deploy these activities into practical things on the shop floor, then it's much more easy for the top level managers, for the C-level to recognize that link and, let me say, support.
To support, yeah.
And basically support means one thing, in my opinion, asking continuously to the whole chain how the project is doing, what are the results. This is the only way I know to ask for commitment. Okay.
Yeah.
And but at the end, no results at all. No, I'm joking. What happened at the end in those years?
At the end, we can see that all our KPIs, so the key indicator we selected and we connected with the group success are impacted really in a high positive way. So we increased a lot all our target that we set at the beginning of the journey. So taking as a baseline our results of 2019 and defining year by year a target that the most of the time we overcome. Also, we gained huge capacity more versus the past. Utilization utilizing better our equipments. We reduced a lot the quality issues in terms of occurrence and also in terms of impact of them. And we increase as well our service level. So working in reducing the losses, we have the opportunity to have equipment more reliable and available when we need to change or to increase our capacity. We also help the company reducing the cost of our component produced, reducing losses, so we are able to deliver a product with more value added inside. So this was really a fantastic journey done all together. So I said at the beginning, with a huge involvement of all our organization and applying strictly the methodology, so we gained really fantastic result.
I fully agree. Just to give to the audience, let me say, a practical flavor of what happened. If we look at the results, if you see that in, for example, for the breakdown, we had a so strong reduction of breakdown that allows the company to be, let me say, very close to zero. So being able to reduce the number of breakdown by more than 50% means that you started from a good baseline, but at the end means that the MTBF or the other performance are so high that you can work in a more stable way at the end. Yeah. Even if the context is not stable, means that you don't add your instability, the breakdown, the problem where you need to firefighting during the day. So this means in some way compensating that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. This result can give us the opportunity to focus on what really counts, in order to develop new product, in order to be more flexible, in order to produce more, rather than take into account the fact when they happen. So.
Okay, thank you very much, Michele. Maybe we come back to you because what we're asking now, remember that you can submit your question, but also I introduced one thing, please. You see here QR code. Please scan it with your mobile and give us your feedback about what you're hearing right now and about this webinar. It's a very quick survey. If you can send us, it will be more than appreciated, because we are lean, we need to improve, and so feedbacks are the main food for improvement. So going ahead, now the topic, so the microphone is open to receive from the audience your question, your doubt, or something that you want to, let me say, go more in detail. We have some few minutes, but we can maybe answer to some question. Okay, so the question is how to ensure labor flexibility as well. Okay, we spoke. We were talking about capital intensive, so we were talking about machine. Oh, I see my warmer colleague now without scarf and jacket. So, okay. The point of labor flexibility, in my opinion, can be treated from two perspectives. One perspective that I see is that then I will hear the voice also from Parma and from Tokyo. From my perspective, one opportunity is that if you increase your capacity, you can first to resource a part of the component you produce outside. I think that this was almost partially the case of Parma. Am I right, Michele?
Yeah, you're right. So we increased our capacity in order to, as well, to increase the production that we do.
And I think this is important because this changed a bit the perspective, because when you resource, you can compare not the overall cost, but you can compare the outsourced cost with only the transformation cost. And so sometimes you have also advantage in terms of efficiency. But on the other side means that you can face this variation, having this buffer in some way that can be resourced. Another opportunity, in my opinion, is to use the labor capacity and the machine capacity to improve the mix. So having a more complex mix, so reducing the lead time and reducing the work in progress and the stock. Because if you decide to invest this additional capacity and to use more people in the setup, you can reduce the setup time, having small losses and obtaining advantage in terms of work in progress and of course in terms of stock and capital. Of course, I talk about the Italian environment. There are many opportunities also to manage hourly base flexibility. There are many tools that the law give to us to do that. I don't know if from Japan you have some contribution to that or some answer to that question.
いいよ、鈴木さん。鈴木さんいいか。そう。
Because labor flexibility, I think that it's a crucial topic also in Japan, because the company has a lot of direct worker and many labor activity also in Japan. Sometimes we talk about OE, but it's not just a matter of having more flexibility and more capacity of OE, but also to have, as probably Takuya says, increasing the OE, we also increase the productivity of labor. Am I right, Takuya?
Yes, you're right. Well, increasing OE and labor productivity will give the freedom of doing something others that will be beneficial to people and also the company. So being efficient is really good thing for the people to have other choices to make their life better.
Yeah, I fully agree. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In there, it's not just about the freedom of just general freedom. It's improving OEE. You're getting higher returns, minimizing costs. So you have financial freedom as a company as well. So that also can help you to focus on other things, more important things, or things that need to be done in the short, medium, and long term.
I fully agree with that point, because one thing that we normally hear from the company at the beginning is that people don't have time to invest in improvement. And one way to use that major capacity is to invest in improvement. I remember that in 2007, 2008, it seems now seems decades or ages. But I remember that during the big crisis in automotive, all the European and Western companies were closing the factories and firing people. And I remember that Toyota was probably the only one that didn't fire, or almost very, very limited number of people was moved. And because they invested a lot of time in improving their process, improving their machine. And what happened was that when the market restarted, so if we see in the long term is an up and down, is variation, then they had a so strong competitiveness that they started and they overcome Volkswagen and so become again the first of the row. So I think this freedom to use the resources, also the human resources, can be very much important.
Yes, important. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We have other question. In this context, do the policies of outsourcing and sourcing to low-cost countries make sense? Oh, okay. I tell you my opinion. I think not. So we are doing a lot of, in the past decades, we made a lot of, in my opinion, damages from many point of view, both the economical and the social point of view, moving in a not very well, not very smart way, production out of control, because outsourcing means losing control. This has to be very clear. I think that outsourcing can provide opportunity in terms of efficiency, immediate efficiency. We can have opportunity in terms of flexibility in the short term, but in long term you lose control. And on the other side, this strong, how to say, globalization create a so strong rigidness of the supply chain that now every time we have to change a plan, we have to count on the fact that we have 3 ships moving from China to Europe already full of material that maybe is not useful anymore. So from my perspective, this new times, new world is explaining us how many errors we did. So it's not wrong to do outsourcing and to do outsourcing to the Far East country, but do it by himself and do it in a so large way, in my opinion, now become not a correct thing. So what's your opinion, Michele?
I fully agree. You have to select really what makes sense, and in order to maintain flexibility and responsiveness, probably at that time it's not the best case for everything, of course.
What happened in Japan, Morita-san? Companies do a lot of outsourcing.
Yes. Yeah, I think it is a very good question. After pandemic, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Cost is important factors for competitiveness. But on the other hand, we have to measure and analyze stability of supply chain too. During the pandemic, we faced a lot of problem of the stock of supply chain, to buy the part, to distribute the products. In that case, we change our policy. Cost is very important factors. But on the other hand, we prioritize stability of supply chain for the customers, for market. Therefore, I don't think the cost is only the index to decide location of production.
Fully agree. The responsiveness, the stability, the length of the supply chain now is really a topic, because the more the supply chain is long, the more is full of things and maybe unuseful things. And so when you need the right one, maybe it's still at the beginning of the pipeline, and this does not mean reactivity. We'll agree. Okay, we have another question. Has every company the same sequence of pillar implementation? Okay, good question. I'm curious to hear the answer from our colleague. In my opinion, not exactly the same. There are some guidelines For example, if we need to involve people, autonomous maintenance and shop floor activities are fundamental to start immediately. But if we need to start before with early equipment or start before with quality maintenance, I don't think there's a standard approach. It depends a lot on the priority and on the need of the company. What is your opinion, Sensei?
Yes, according to my experience, you're right. So at first, we analyze problems and losses. Losses analysis tell us what is prioritized pillar to be improved, and what kind of pillar should be postponed 1 year later or 2 years later.
Yeah.
Therefore, my answer is, don't worry. We don't ask you to solid program of TPM. We can customize TPM. We say tailor-made.
Okay, thank you very much. And Michele, it's the same experience we had in Parma because...
We started selecting the most important pillar for us in order to be effective in the pilot area, and then we developed the others.
Okay. But also because you probably see, talking to the audience, that in the roadmap you see some boxes related to the JPM award and the assessment. Also in that system of assessment that award the company the best implementer in TPM with an award, and I'm very happy to remember that last year Michele was in Kyoto to receive the JPM award for the very good implementation. Also, in the standard approach of JPM, some pillars are mandatory, but some pillars are not necessary to implement at the beginning because it depends on the needs of the company.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, so the song is sad to say, but it's time to go. So let's go to close with a very quick final remarks. So again, what we say that if we work on losses, we can use these losses. If we reduce the losses, we can, let me say, improve the production capacity. But as Morita says and Michele says, the cost reduction is not only the topic, because losing revenues, losing sales is it is the same. Maybe it's more important this day, and so we have to face this topic. So we have to find the link between the losses and the opportunities and the need of the company, and based on that work and improve it. But I think that to do this in a very good way, we have to be very strong in measuring and knowing the losses, because if we make discounts in calculating OEE and KPIs, if we don't have the courage to compare our actual performance with the ideal performance, we lose opportunity at the end. Maybe we can feel more comfortable, we are more in the comfort zone, but we cannot really achieve important results. So I would say thank you very much. I will say thank you very much to our guest from Tokyo, from the surrounding of Tokyo Tower. We had Yoshiaki Morita, Takuya Sasaki, and Jorge Zavaleta. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Now it's time to sleep, I hope.
You too.
And to Michele Marazzini in Parma from Sidel, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy this webinar, this live streaming. So please, again, flash the QR code and give us your feedback. Bye-bye, and have a nice afternoon.